I want to believe that if you truly do this, if you are true to these words, if you're going to accept what this person has told you, what the person seated beside you has told you, you look back a few years down the line, you remember this talk, and you'll be very, very happy and very, very glad to have been a part of this conversation. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
A round of applause for our last speaker, please. That was finally done. The incarnation to comparative advantage and leverage. That was a discussion that is worth remembering again and again. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, so we had one of our speakers come up earlier today. That was Mrs. Chisom Umbaba. I apologize, but we would have her come again due to the power interruptions. We'll be going for a second round, and good things are better have twice, right? Like we get double the blessing. So please, just and gentlemen, join me as I welcome for the second time today, Mrs. Chisom.
Hi everyone. My name is Chisom Umbama, and I want you to say that quote. What is it? Let's have it again. I don't know any better definition of evolving than coming on this stage for a second time to say something I've already said before. Yeah, so you hear the story of evolvement once again. How amazing. This time around, I want you to actually think of yourself. Look at where you are now. What point? Okay, let's say that again. Once again. Okay, so as I tell you this story of evolvement, I want you to think about yourself. I want you to imagine yourself at the point where you are and begin to ask yourself pertinent questions like, where do I actually want to go? What do I want to be? What do I want to do? What behaviors do I want to correct? Who do I want to evolve to become? And where can I start now so that I can move to point B? And so the story begins. Who moves from a degree in nursing to a career in core technology? I mean, if you think about it for a minute, those are very far words apart. About 5 years ago, I was a nursing student who had just finished school, and I was saying to myself that, who makes the rules? Thank you. Am I allowed to evolve or not? Can I actually move from point A to point B? And so I began to ask myself certain questions and actually move in certain directions. How did it start? It started from curiosity. You see, it's one thing to be curious about something. It's another thing to really pursue what you're curious about. And so I was curious about tech. I'm like, why do I have to outsource my data analysis projects in my hospital finance to somebody else? What do they have that makes them able to do this? And what can I actually do to be able to analyze the projects by myself? So remember the pertinent questions that you ask yourself to enable you decide how you can move from point A to point B. And so I learned enough data analysis to be able to analyze my projects and complete my hospital finance project without actually outsourcing that part to anybody. You have to understand that this is what almost everybody were doing. They were actually outsourcing. We had the analysis guys who were doing it, and so they were outsourcing. But then asking the question of who makes the rules, what stops me as a nursing student from doing this? And that one question, that decision would go ahead to change the trajectory of my life. I did not just do my own project. I went ahead to help a lot of my colleagues to actually do theirs. Yeah. Now, it started with curiosity. It took courage to pursue the interest. But then one thing I've realized in life is that you have to be able to mirror possibilities, i.e., you have to be able to expose yourself to spaces where you find the people who look like what you want to be, who are already doing what you want to do, so that you can see that this is possible and then you can go towards it. Yeah, you need to have that picture of possibilities. And so I would go for tech conferences, networking events, even programs like this where people are just speaking, and I will look at them and say, I want to be on that stage one day. I want to be able to say, I have that job, I've been able to do this, I've been able to build that. And a lot of times in those settings, I wouldn't even really understand what they were saying. Remember, I was coming from a degree in nursing and I was trying to start up a career in tech, so a lot of things were sounding like gibberish. And so I would write down the acronyms I don't understand, the words that I heard that I did not understand, and I would go home and I would, okay, so can we say I'm allowed to evolve again? So let me tell you about actually going for opportunities. A lot of times we see opportunities and our instinct is, nah, I'm not qualified for this. Oh no, I don't have this yet. Interestingly, a friend had told me one time that when it comes to going after opportunities, that we have a lot of people really who put out the opportunities. Is almost like a wish list. Oh, we hope we find somebody who can do this, do that. But at the back of their mind, if we find somebody who can do this, then we would need them. And another statistic says that most ladies would not apply for opportunities unless they're at least 100% qualified for it. Now, it doesn't take away the place of responsibility. You remember, you can look at something and say, okay, I'm not yet qualified for this, but I want to work towards being qualified for it. So in applying for opportunities, every time I saw an opportunity that looked like what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do, I would apply for it, right, to get the experience of applying, yeah, to actually put myself there and actually see what they were looking at and looking for. And in the process of just going after opportunities without disqualifying myself, I had the opportunity to get some really good and amazing job. I was an associate for an EU project. I worked as a research analyst doing data. You have to understand that at this time, I had literally just left school. So I didn't even have like a lot of like knowledge and training, but I put myself out there. I said, hey, I can do this, I can do that. And they were like, we want somebody who can do all of these things, but with this particular certification and qualification. However, we still need somebody who can do this. So can you come on board? And that was also another opportunity that changed my life. And remember, just being in a place that mirrored a lot of possibilities for me also helped me forward. I applied to one of the large and I got in. I worked there for almost 3 years, and it was such a life-changing opportunity. Can we say I am allowed to evolve again? So you must learn not to disqualify yourself from opportunities. Yeah. Now the year is 2025, and as a person who always asks herself, where do I really want to go to? What do I want to do? And how can I move from point A to point B? I have evolved again into another part of data analytics, which is analytics engineering. And so I currently work as an analytics engineer, and you have to understand a degree in nursing. How amazing is that? And so what I really want you to hear is that you to evolve. And when we talk about being allowed to evolve, it's not always necessarily in the big things like, oh, I want to change my career paths, I want to like change my country or whatever that looks like. But even in the small things, if you're the person who's usually very shy, you can decide that, you know what, I want to speak up more in the room, I want to ask more questions. Nobody makes the rules. Any day you decide to move from point A to point B, sit with yourself, ask yourself the questions. How do I go from A to B? Do the work and you'll find yourself at point B. So one more time, say with me, I am allowed to evolve. Thank you for listening to my talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Miss Chisom Umbama. Thank you very much. I was so glad to hear that the second time. Next speaker is a visionary of our time. She has a keen attention to detail. I'm going to read her bio. I want you to pay rapt attention. And once I call her to the stage, we would honor her with a standing ovation and clapped hand. All right. Miss Motorayo Oyedele, also known as the Motun Global, is a dynamic force in creativity with deep passion for education, politics, and photography. She currently serves as the official photographer to the Executive Governor of Ondo State, Honorable Lucky Orimison Ayedatiwa. With a sharp eye for detail and a love for storytelling, she documents key moments and brings government activities to life through powerful visuals. A multi-passionate creative, Motorayo holds a degree in Demography and Social Statistics from the Federal University Oye-Ekiti and a master's degree from the University of Ibadan. Her passion for education and social impact led her to launch EduMinds Africa. The project aligns with UN SDG and Goal 13 climate action. Through EduMinds, Motorayo is raising a new generation of eco-conscious leaders, especially among youth, by mentoring and empowering them to speak up for sustainability and take real action, from school outreaches to community cleanups. Her impact is both practical and inspiring, changing lives and sparking real conversations about the future of our planet. Motorayo is a bold voice for good governance and nation building, using her platform and influence to drive conservations that matter. Whether behind the camera or in front of a crowd, she is all about purpose, impact, and building Nigeria we all dream of. Ladies and gentlemen, hands together and feet up for Motorayo Oyedele.